Hi everyone, and welcome to our very first video. And today you're going to be watching this video in class, and the video is about how to take really good notes. So I know a lot of you may have spent a lot of time taking notes either in class or outside of class when you're reading, listening to a lecture, but just because you're taking notes doesn't mean you're actually taking notes that work. And you can try a lot of different methods, but if you're not doing things that work, you're wasting your time. So I know that now with the invention of cell phones and everything else that we have, it's very easy to just want to take pictures of things and keep them on your phone. And this can be helpful in some situations. For example, I have a picture on my phone of my license plate because I can never remember it. And I don't actually need to really learn it because I always have my phone on me. But if there are things you really want to learn, as in there are things that you won't be able to look at and you need to recall and you need to be able to speak about and use on an exam, taking a picture of it is not going to help you. Even looking at the picture over and over again is not going to help you. So if there is an email or a phone number or some kind of information that you need to get exactly right, taking a picture could be a great idea. But if it's actually learning new information, taking a picture is not going to be helpful. So what you have in front of you here is something called the forgetting curve. We're going to talk about this more in our first unit of AP Psych because our first unit is memory. But I think this is one of the most important things to come out of psychology for students to know. Because basically what it says is that you think you know more than you know. Because by the end of 3 days, the material you learned on the first day is practically at a D level. If you take a look here, you'll see that what you first learned is basically at 80% by day 1. And we're assuming that you learned it all in the first place, but I'm guessing you weren't really paying attention to all of it. So you may have started at 80, which means then you'd be at 60. But by day 3, you're all the way at 60% if you haven't reviewed it. If you reviewed it at day 2, then at day 3, you're at 80. If you reviewed again, you see by day 6, you're still at 80. And then again, so the more you review it, the longer it takes for the information to decay. They say 3 is the minimum amount of times you should look at a chunk of information or the information you're trying to learn for it to not decay from your memory rapidly. So the quote that I like to use is, how do I know what I think until I see what I write? This is a quote from a woman who started Avid, but I think it's really valuable because most of us think like, oh, I'll just think about it. But actually writing it down changes the way you think about it. They found that note-taking was a more effective study technique than reading or listening alone, which would both just require you to think. Although the result of the note-taking strategy does matter. So you can't just take crappy notes and hope that they're going to work. You have to take good notes, which means you're thinking about what you're writing down and you review them later. The second part is why I use writing as opposed to, just typing. So writing actually aids your critical thinking. They find that writing is a unique mode of learning, and it provides the process that you need to relate something new to what you already know. You can't actually learn anything if it doesn't connect with something you already know, even in some small way. So they find by writing things down, it actually allows your brain to find and cement that connection. It makes it concrete and visible and permits review and modification of knowledge as it's learned. So literally when you're writing, it makes what you're learning concrete to your brain, and your brain revises it as you have to put it into writing, because writing has to make more sense than just thinking alone. So, for the very first unit, I want you to try a method of note-taking called Cornell Notes. The good, the bad, the ugly, whether you hate them or not, I want you to try it this way, the way that I'm teaching you, not the way you may have heard of Cornell Notes before, and then we can go from there. So, the steps to Cornell Notes are easy. First of all, you divide the paper so that you have a column on the left-hand side. Then you take notes in the notes section in whatever format you want. I don't care, you can take bullet points, Roman numerals, you can draw arrows, you can do whatever you want. Within 24 hours, so not when you're taking the notes, but within 24 hours of taking the notes, you're going to add in questions, diagrams, whatever it is to that cues column you see there that's in red. You should not have any naked notes, okay? Within 2 days, you're going to reread again, maybe add in some more things that you're thinking about when you're rereading, and then write a summary. And you're going to continue to revise and reread over and over and over again until your test. This revising and rereading shouldn't take more than 5 or 10 minutes, okay? I'm not asking you to spend a lot of time reviewing your notes. I'm asking you to spend quality time that's meaningful. And like it says on point 5, 3 is the minimum and 7 is the magic number. So after 7 times you've looked at them, it's not really going to decay past a certain point because you've cemented it into your memory. Here's an example of some Cornell notes. What's good about this? So the notes are in the right, and you see they have lots of different things that they've written down. They've put little stars next to things. In the left-hand column, you see that they have some page numbers and a diagram to help them. They even have a question, and they have a summary on the bottom. What they're missing is some kind of evidence that they didn't do this all at once. If you go home and you write the notes in the center, and then you do the left side and you do the summary, it's not going to be as helpful as if you do the notes, wait, do the left-hand column in class with us, wait, do the summary either at the beginning of a class, at the end of a class, when you go home, when you have 5 or 10 minutes or homeroom or whatever. So you are not to do this all at once. It will not be helpful the way it should be if you spend your time doing all this at home the same time you listen to the notes, okay? We will go over your notes every single day in class. That's when you are to do this cue column and add in things for the first time. And then you go back again and again and again. Okay? These notes are not, for your level, right? They are language arts. You can see that she's very young, but she does do different, she has showed different evidence of repetition. So she's got the notes, she's got the questions, she's got this that she's added in here. So I'm guessing she wrote this down and then went back to it later and added this in, right? And now here's the thing. Could you add in highlighting and different colors all at the same time? Yes, you can do anything and kind of hide it from Miss Schaefer, but it's a waste of your time. So if you want to waste your time, that's fine. I don't want you to waste your time. I want you to use the time that you're studying for this class as productive as possible, okay? It's not about more studying, it's about good studying. So one last thing, okay? Cornell Notes don't work for me. They don't work for you if you say that because you're not using them. What you're doing is you're taking notes on special Cornell note paper that your teacher made you take notes on, and they're a waste of your time because they're like any other note system. You take them, you put them in your binder, you don't look at them until the night before the exam. Okay? That is not Cornell Notes. Cornell Notes are a system, not a paper. Okay? And if you don't use them, they won't work for you. You're right. So, Cornell Notes is not about the format. Like I said, it's about the process. It does not matter, special notes or not. The repetitions matter. Rereading and revising your notes will work because of the forgetting curve that I showed you, okay? When you revise them, your learning goes back up to 100 and takes less time to decay. So, you can take notes like this if you want, right, in your regular notebook. Or you could maybe make the red line, go a little further for your questions column. Or you could put notes on one side and questions on the other. Okay? So, some things for note taking. Make sure you put the date and the heading on the notes. Listen and read actively. So, don't just play the slides and copy them down verbatim. That's not going to be helpful for you. You're not going to be thinking about what you're listening to, and you're not going to remember anything. If you remember the article you read for homework, what you think about is what you remember. If you spend 20 or 30 really good minutes thinking about your notes that you're taking, you are better off than spending 20 or 30 minutes, or maybe it took you 15 minutes to mindlessly copy. So what, you spend an extra 10 minutes? That 10 minutes is so valuable. So do it the right way so you can get something out of it. You're not wasting your time. Okay, if I repeat it, if I make a big deal about it, if I give 3 examples of it, write it down. Use abbreviations. They will help you remember things better because you're putting it in your own words. Add diagrams and pictures. If I have them in the slide and you can draw them, I would recommend that, right? And use different colors. It helps remind your brain of different information. So, don't just copy down the slides without listening. Like I said, you need to think about what you're writing down for it to be remembered. Use the pause button. You can pause me, and I talk really fast. So pause me, then go get a drink, or get a smoothie, or get a snack. Maybe you want some Cool Ranch Doritos. I don't know. You come, you can eat your snack, and you can take some more notes. Okay? Put away your distractions. Like I said, you cannot multitask. So you can spend 20 or 25, 30 minutes watching this video and not doing anything else, or you can spend an hour being distracted, watching the video, pausing, doing whatever. So I'd rather spend 30 minutes being productive and then 30 minutes doing whatever I wanted to on the internet than an hour getting nothing done. Write down questions you have so we can talk about them in class the next day, and rewatch the videos. So If you're struggling, I recommend to watch the video, take notes, come to class. We'll do some activities in class. Then go home and re-watch the notes. You don't have to take notes this time. Just re-watch the video and look through your notes while you're watching it. The second time you watch the video, it will help you cement what we learned in class that day because you will have greater understanding of the material, okay? You don't have to do that every day, but if you're struggling, that's something that can really help. All right, so that's all for now, AP Psychos, and remember, psychology is flippin' awesome.